What's going on, NBA fans? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzlies, home of Memphis X, and I talk hoops. Today, we are talking about the departure of one Dillon Brooks. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
KeyAno.
Grizz gang, go hard. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Diamond respect and let's go, boy. He that MVP.
Well, I cannot lie. This video I've been trying to make this video for a couple of days now. And it's really, I understand that Dillon Brooks, the Grizzlies had probably outgrown Dillon Brooks. But man, am I going to miss the character that was Dillon Brooks. From the on-court play to the post-game press conferences, the outfits, the pregame outfits. There will never, ever, ever be another Dillon Brooks, for good or for bad. Now, of course, if you haven't been under the rock, Shams Charania put out a tweet to really paint the Grizzlies organization in a bad light by saying the Grizzlies were not going to bring back Dillon Brooks under any circumstances. But as fans, we kind of known, especially after this playoff series, that Dillon Brooks probably wasn't going to come back. The Grizzlies were trying to upgrade his position at the trade deadline. And just honestly, we've outgrown him as a team. The guys have outgrown him. Ja, Jaren, Desmond Bane, they've outgrown him. They don't need that crutch anymore. And we're going to miss his one-on-one defense. Of course, we're going to miss that. We're going to miss the antics. We're going to miss the heart. Man, there's one thing you cannot, you can say that Dillon Brooks didn't shoot well. You can say all the things that didn't go, that he did bad on the court. But one thing you can never say about Dillon Brooks is he cheated you on effort. And that is my one thing with Grizzlies and former Grizzlies. All I ask is to give it your all when you're on the court and don't trash the organization after you leave. Now, of course, we have to wait a while before that happens to see if Dillon kind of lets loose next season, before we face them, because that he is a news cycle guy, a guy that garners clicks for these NBA media types. So when the Grizzlies play whatever team Dillon's on next season, it will be the topic of conversation, and we'll see what he says. But for me, as a Grizz fan, I am very, very sad to see him go. I wish he could have played better and secured himself as a permanent fixture for the Grizzlies, but such is life. My whole temperament about these things is I've been a Grizzlies fan, and I will be a Grizzlies fan longer than any of these players will be on the Grizzlies. So, I'm about the Grizzlies. I really don't care about the players as far as when they move on. As far as I'm going to be really emotional about him next season, that ain't going to happen. There's very few players that I really, really, really like after they leave the Grizzlies. I think I probably can count on one hand on the ones that I really, really liked and wanted to see do very well or cared enough about them to do very well after they left the Grizzlies. And that's not to say that I didn't like them when they were on the Grizzlies. It's just that I'm a Grizzlies homer, man. That's who I am. I like the Grizzlies. So when you're not on the Grizzlies or involved with the Grizzlies, I really can care less. And that's just the way it is. And I don't expect the players to always say, flowery things about the Grizzlies after they leave. Just don't trash the organization like what Pau Gasol did when he left. So, it is what it is. The Grizzlies will have a new look, a new attitude next season. And, the end of this season was really a whole bummer for the fan base. I tried to fight through it, man, but it was just a chore every day to talk about the Grizzlies, especially after the vibe just turned so negative and things like that. So hopefully we turn the page. We got the draft coming up. I'm going to start doing some draft stuff. We got it. Hopefully should be an exciting offseason for Zach Kleiman and the Grizzlies front office, because they need to establish this team as a perennial championship contender. The good thing about it is we have our core, Ja, Jaren, and Desmond Bane. We have a whole bunch of role players to choose from, and we have enough picks and such to hopefully bring in somebody to replace Dillon Brooks, either through the draft, free agency, or trade. And, we're going to talk about all those avenues tomorrow on what the best routes to replace Dillon Brooks and what he brought to the table, because, there's a lot of ways the Grizzlies can go with replacing him in-house or, like I said, via the draft, free agency, or trade. It's going to be an interesting summer. This is, like I said, the Grizzlies finally had a season where they didn't quite meet expectations, and it kind of left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. But I, for one, am excited about next year. Hopefully, the Grizzlies can finally get a healthy playoff run. If you look around to see the teams left in the playoffs, and you're going to see it, Denver healthy, the Lakers healthy, the Warriors healthy, the Phoenix were healthy. Now they've had injuries, probably going to make them get knocked out. The Celtics kind of healthy. The Sixers kind of healthy. They're having injuries with Embiid. The Celtics are having injuries with Marcus Smart. And then you had the Milwaukee Bucks, who had the injuries to Giannis in the first round, eliminated. The only team that has really been able to overcome injuries has been the Miami Heat. But now they got an injury to Jimmy Butler to go along with their injury to Tyler Hero, and we'll see how that affects them. But, of course, they played a team that was injured. I think Julius Randle was injured early in that series, so the NBA playoffs is about getting healthy at the right time and outlasting your opponents. It's a war of attrition. And the Grizzlies, unfortunately, during our time, we have had one, I think, real healthy playoff run where we had a serious team and we made the Western Conference Finals that year. And we just so happened to face a lot of teams that were missing key players that year. And that's how it is. That's the NBA now. Probably it's been the NBA forever, and we just hadn't paid attention because people forget about the injuries after the fact. After the championships are won, nobody goes back and says, well, the Warriors might not have won if Ja Morant didn't get hurt. Nobody cares. It's about the end result. Peace.